So good morning. My name's Rob Prevett and I'm the founder of Disruption. We are a rapidly growing media business consisting of a magazine, website and a series of events that focus on disruption, innovation and digital transformation. Disruption came about nearly 2 years ago. I was running a brand called Internet Retailing, looking at e-commerce and multi-channel retail. So I was increasingly seeing technologies transforming the retail sector. And as I started to look into it, I realized that technology was fundamentally changing every industry you could imagine. But I was really frustrated that there was a limited amount of information on the business models, the technologies, the startups transforming these sectors. So in April of 2015, I launched Disruption with a view to providing information and insight, bringing together experts around these technologies and industry sectors. So having launched, we've now got 20,000 subscribers. We've got a network of over 50 experts that write for us. And we run regular events from dinners to roundtables. And in September of this year, we'll be launching a conference, Disruption London. So a question I get asked often is what is disruption? And for me, it's fairly simple. It comes down to three key things. Firstly, emerging technologies, so things like 3D printing, the Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, and many more. Innovative new business models, so things like cloud computing, APIs, open source, crowdfunding, that have leveled the playing fields and allowed disruptive startups to compete with incumbent businesses. And then finally, all of that is accelerated by increasingly steep adoption curves. So when I talk about disruption, I often talk about what I call the 5 pillars of tech disruption. So firstly, 3D printing. Now, until recently, I thought 3D printing wasn't that good. I thought the technology wasn't there, and I thought it was largely a hobbyist technology. In the last 18 months, the technology has advanced incredibly rapidly with advances in material science and technology, and it has the power to fundamentally change the retail and manufacturing industries. So to give you an example of that, my business partner, John, his wife is a designer. She's an interior designer. But she's always had a dream of designing her own shoes. She recently downloaded an app, managed to design some shoes on her iPad, sent those designs off to the Amazon 3D print store, and 3 days later, she had a prototype of a pair of shoes. What's even better is that those designs are then made available on the Amazon 3D print marketplace, and she earns a commission every time anyone downloads those. So 3D printing has allowed her to fulfill her dream of designing and becoming a shoe designer. I think the interesting thing there is it demonstrates where we are heading towards a digitally driven, personalized manufacturing. So the second pillar of tech disruption is the Internet of Things. So it's estimated that by 2025, there'll be 80 billion connected items. Now, why that's interesting, I think, is because by connecting items to the internet, it turns a physical object to a data-driven object, providing insight and data on everything from usage to location, and providing the consumer with the ability to personalize and change and update at any time, and providing manufacturers with real-time data on the usage of their products. Thirdly, artificial intelligence, which I think is perhaps the most exciting technology that we're seeing at the moment. It's the technology platform behind the huge innovations we're seeing around driverless cars, around image recognition, and around chatbots, which I'm going to come on to talk about shortly. Thirdly, advanced robotics. Robots have been used for many years in manufacturing and also within the health sector, the medical sector. But over the last couple of years, we've seen huge advances in robotics. We've seen social robots. I don't know if any of you have seen Pepper before. So Pepper's a social robot which is starting to be rolled out into retail environments, checking people into hotels, providing product information in stores. We're seeing the rise of cobots, robots that are working alongside workers in factories, and robots that are able to teach other robots. And finally, virtual reality and augmented reality. So just quick hands up in the room. How many of you in here have used virtual reality before? Okay, quite a few of you then. So the advances, again, in virtual reality are quite astounding. And many people think that it's purely for the gaming sector, but what we're seeing is a huge number of applications. For example, a couple of travel agents are now starting to roll out virtual reality to allow consumers in their travel agents to try out a holiday, try on their virtual reality headset, walk around the hotel, go to the water park, and it's seen conversions go through the roof. So what I wanted to talk to you about today is an area that we're seeing perhaps the biggest innovations and an area that I think will be the most disruptive since the smartphone, and that is chatbots and the chatbot economy. So things started to change in a big way in May last year when Facebook opened up a developer toolkit for its Messenger and WhatsApp applications, essentially allowing brands to build apps within Messenger. And when you look at the fact that Facebook and WhatsApp have over 1 billion users, that is a ready-made audience for brands to target. So when we think about this, I'm going to bring it around to search to begin with, because one of the problems with the internet has always been around search. So coming back to the example of travel agents, my business partner, John Straw, led the digital transformation at Thomas Cook. And when he took over there, one of the standout things that he looked at was conversion rates between in-store and online. So around a 60 to 1 in-store to online. And one of the reasons is how people are able to search. So within store, typically you would go in and ask for something like this. Find me a holiday for a family of 4, including 2 children, less than 8 years old, within 400 metres of a water park, where the average temperature is not less than 24 degrees, less than 4 hours flying time from Gatwick or Dublin, for less than €400 per person. Obviously, within a travel agent, you've got an expert who's worked there for years, who can understand that data and find the right holiday for you. If you type that into Google, you'll get a few ads, and then the next one down is actually a blog post on our blog. So typically, when searching on the internet, you've only been able to search by a few search terms, holiday, Spain, for example. But that has all changed recently. So in the middle of last year, Google turned 98% of its search over to artificial intelligence. What that has meant is that we're now able to see significant advances around search and getting the results that you need. So where does this leave us in terms of chatbots? Well, I'd like to run through a scenario of where I think chatbots are going. So bear with me, I'm going to pretend to be a chatbot. So, hello Rob, I believe your water boiler is about to malfunction. Shall I get it repaired before it breaks? Okay, take a look at prices and timescales, please. Bot. Okay, there are 3 boiler engineers within 5 miles. One can come over on Tuesday around 3 p.m. And you're at home, but he doesn't have the best reputation. Shall I look for alternatives? Rob, yes please. So the best rated is only available in 3 weeks' time, which is just within the limits of our boiler. I will book him unless you say otherwise. okay, I checked who's available the morning of the 15th. Aren't I out that day? AI bot, yes, but only 3 miles away. Your wife has the car that morning, so I'll book you an Uber. Rob, thanks. Oh, and by the way, can you research some holidays for me? So you get the idea. All of this is possible right now. So the water boiler, if it's Internet of Things connected, will be able to connect to the manufacturer to talk about repair. The bot can connect with Yelp to look for engineers in the area, can then connect with Google Maps to look at your location services, connect to your diary to see if to availability, and so on and so forth, all the way through to booking an Uber using the API app. All of this is possible right now, and if anyone's got an Amazon Echo, a lot of this is on there now. So Amazon Echo's had a fantastic year. The adoption rate has been massive, and Amazon really see the opportunity in this and are throwing huge amounts of investment at AI and voice commerce. So I think over the next year, we'll see huge advances. So the state of the technology. At the moment, chatbots tend to use essentially an augmented decision tree. So they take you down a decision tree based on your responses. If this, then that. I recently had an interaction with Apple where I had a problem. It wasn't until I got 6 questions in that I actually started communicating with a human. The interesting thing about that is that over time, the artificial intelligence, after each interaction, learns from the interaction. So over time, you will get further down that tree before you talk to a human being, giving a better experience for the consumer and cutting costs for the business. So Facebook is investing, again, massively in this. They've got over 10,000 developers building chatbots, and we'll see huge advances over the coming months. So I just wanted to run through a couple of use cases just to give you an idea of how they work and what some of the advantages are. So this is the Uber app within Messenger. So as you can see, it's now dead easy. Uber was one of the first to have an app within Facebook Messenger, and there are literally thousands of new apps coming on the market every day, offering the opportunity for brands to interact with consumers without them leaving the Messenger app. A couple of other
Alexa,
applications. So this is
ask
an
Exotic
insurance
Direct
company.
for a quote.
Sure. What sort of pet do you have?
He's a parrot.
I found 17 animals which might match that. Could you be more specific? I found examples like African grey parrot and Alexandrine parrot.
He's a Cape parrot.
Thank you. How much did you pay or donate for your Cape parrot?
I paid £150.
Thank you. We have 3 policies to choose from. Basic at £42, Essential at £153, Premier at £182. I have added a link to your quote to the Alexa app on your phone.
So this demonstrates the pre-sales ability of some of these chatbots, and we will see this rolled out across a whole range of industry sectors. Another area is health apps. So this is for a health app which helps you to remind you to take your medication. It does a whole load of other things in terms of diagnosis for problems. Okay, so you get the idea. There's a huge number of bots out there now for everything you can imagine. A UK startup recently received 25 million in funding for a health app which will allow you to communicate directly with AI supported by medical professionals. And IBM now has even developed a bot which lives within adverts, so you can ask questions within an advert, opening up huge possibilities for the advertising sector. So in short, the chatbot economy. For consumers, it offers a significantly better experience, richer, consistent interaction, faster service, and a more natural interface than apps and web pages. For businesses, a much better net promoter score due to better service, major cost reductions, great interaction with consumers, true scalability, and singularity of experience. Thank you.